If you're making over 50 to 100 grand a month, this is by far the smartest system and the best employee to hire to alleviate your time. I've scaled my company to over 7 figures. I manage over $100 million in life. So what this means is my clients are making in the realms of 50 to 100, 300, 500 to $1 million plus a month. And I manage all their health systems for them. Their housekeeper, chef in home, their training plans, their meal plans, the blood work that they do, the gut testing that they do, all the systems around their goals and their rejuvenation process as they try and scale their health along with themselves. Because everybody that is healthy or is successful in business knows the value of health. But it's a very confusing process because health is not organized efficiently. And today I'm gonna break it down so that you can understand your health just like you understand your business. So we're gonna start with what's readily available. So what exists currently that you may know or may not know of, and how you can better utilize that to get the benefit that you're looking for, if that's getting stronger, living longer, making more money, whatever that is. What I'm gonna show and break down for you today will streamline all of that for you. So let's get started. The first aspect of your health is you have to organize it into 3 separate junctions: action, allocation, and interpretation. So action is the things that you take action on. Now, a lot of businesses or a lot of successful people that I've met will spend 25 grand, 5 grand on a coach that gives you a meal plan or a training plan or takes time away from you. And they're thinking that this sort of action is going to get them to a position where they're healthier. That's not true. And the reason why this doesn't work is because it's not taking into account the allocation piece, which is your time. And in a day's worth, health actually takes up a substantial amount of your time, right? Because in hindsight, you have to shop, you have to cook, you have to clean, you have to train, you have to meditate, you have to stretch, you have to eat, you have to fuel yourself, you have to put water in yourself, you have to take supplements, you have to refill those supplements. And coaches are charging you not to alleviate the time that you're spending doing the things that you have to do to be healthy, but they're charging you for information along these lines. And the reason why people fall off with health is because your business will start scaling and then you're making an insurmountably more amount of money. And then you realize, oh shit, cooking and cleaning my dishes isn't worth it. And let me just show you something. I don't cook or clean any of my dishes. It's a complete waste of time. My housekeeper is literally coming in tomorrow, our chef. I've just left this open. He's gonna handle all of this for me, right? Like I'm not gonna waste my time cleaning up all this. I'm not gonna do these dishes. I have meal prep containers in here. I just finished them. I ordered them. He's gonna be refilling them. And then whenever I want food, I just literally go in here and then I have meal preps ready for me. All of this is shot for by my housekeeper, chef. He does it all. I just literally I'm unthawing the meat right now so we can prepare it tomorrow for me and my clients. We have some fettuccine alfredo, some ground beef and some potatoes. And then what else is in here? I don't even fucking know what's in here. He shopped it all, right? So I'm not doing the cooking or cleaning. It's a waste of my time. I'm making content to tell you and to show you how simple it is to have this process figured out, okay? And this is the #1 lever for people that's going to buy back their time. The time piece is the most important one because no one gives a shit about these coaches, okay? The reason being is because they're withholding interpretation. And interpretation, it's not valuable to withhold that sort of information from somebody. You're hoarding knowledge and you're withholding that from being applied, you're not valuable. You're just an asshole. So everything that pertains to being healthier in a smarter way coordinates the time that you have in a day with your body battery percentage, okay? And the battery and the time piece are unique to everybody and it's unique to your goals. And what we've categorized and what we found throughout doing this and scaling this sort of business model is that there's 2 types of people. And the 2 types of people can easily be broken down into 2 categories, which is lifestyle and performance. Lifestyle is somebody that, likes their food prepared for them. So cooking, so chef. They don't really have any general training goals. They just want to be healthy, be fit, be lean. They don't really care about biking up a mountain or running a marathon. They just want to, live long and live well, longevity. Performance clients care about the performance as the #1 sort, as their motivator. So this could be if you're a fighter, or if you're a gym bro, you could be aiming and the thing that fuels you on a day-to-day basis to make health decisions is your performance. That's the highest thing on your pedestal. They don't really give a shit about what they're eating. It's just fuel. So food is fuel. And then the last thing is they want to incrementally grow in standard with their performance. So what this means is, okay, if you do a half marathon, eventually they want to do a marathon, an ultra, etc. They want to keep stacking the bricks. And there's different motivators for people. Some people will have motivators of just having this shit sorted and not having to think about it. And other people will have the motivator of performance. And what I'm telling you is it doesn't matter what category you fall under. What happens and what matters is how you're allocating these things. Your action, what is not worth your time, and how you're interpreting data, okay? So this is you, the decisions that you make and that require your time and your battery. Allocation is what's not worth your time. So cooking, cleaning, organizing, interpreting, all those things that you don't have time to do because you're scaling your business falls outside a completely different subset from your action items. It's a completely separate thing. And that's where a lot of people get it wrong. They'll try and Uber Eats something, or they'll try and do Instacart, but they don't understand that even those small things are not paying respect to their action items because you're not fueling yourself properly with high quality ingredients if you're Uber eating or Instacarting the wrong thing. So ordering groceries, and you're not allocating that. So what that means is if it's disrespecting your action items, eventually what's going to happen is you're going to stop doing it. And you're going to keep falling into ruts with your health because you're not in clarity as to how you're going to organize what you have to do, what someone else has to do, and what you need to outsource, and what information you're acting upon. Okay, so the last piece, I talked about action a little bit, so that the decisions that you make on a day-to-day basis, and we'll break them down here. So the decisions you're making on a day-to-day basis are your action items. So how you're training, how much you're running, what you're eating, or sorry, not what you're eating, but eating, breathing, drinking. Those are action items. And these, your action items, are honestly not going to change. The time in is going to be the same. So what I'm saying is if you're spending 5 hours a week training right now, in all aspects to get healthier, you can still spend 5 hours a week training right now, but with better systems for allocation, so how you're getting healthier and interpreting what is getting you healthier. So you have your action items is your time in, your action items is you, and your action items are expensive. Okay, they're very expensive because as you make more money, your time becomes more and more tied to what's making you the most amount of money. Your hourly rate is going up. And in your brain, you're justifying not doing shit that isn't worth your time. But you have to do shit that's not worth your time to be healthy, which is the entire problem. It's why we're here today. So action is time in equals to a result. It revolves around you and it gets more expensive. Okay, allocation. Here's all the shit that you shouldn't be doing and that you need to outsource in order to still find success with being healthy and achieving your health goals. The first thing is housekeeper chef, okay? This will save you around 45 to 60 hours a month, every month. Think about it. Driving to the store, creating the shopping list, creating the meal plan, soaking the rice, soaking the meat, ordering the food, curating it all, finding the recipe, organizing the recipe, making sure that it tastes good so you don't eat out, making sure that you're buying the right ingredients, the right quality, which means you're probably driving to a store that's further away. Fuck that. No, just hell no. Get someone else to do it. It'll cost you between $2,000 to $5,000 to do it well per month, including groceries around about, depending on how many times you want somebody to come in and how anal you are about how fresh your food is. Action, now we're in allocation, sorry. The next thing you want to allocate is doctor. Someone that you can text and be like, hey, I need peptides, or I need vitamins, or I need supplements. Here's my work, here's my blood work, here's where I'm at currently. What do I do? So someone to organize that for you. And then you also need to organize your physiotherapist if you ever get pains or aches, so that they come into your home and you do all these things for yourself. Like, these are examples of things that you want to allocate so that your time frees up. So before we had health taking up this amount of time. Now, just by doing the first allocation piece, you're saving a shit ton of time. And on top of that, you're opening up and you're just having those concrete, whatever it was, 1 hour a day for action items, coupled with the allocation as your bootstrap, as your rocket ship to get to where you want to get to. It's not the rocket ship that gets the astronaut to a new planet that is cultivated and curated, and the history of that planet is remembered around the rocket ship. It's about the astronaut that got there first, that set land first. Like we all remember Lance Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin. We don't remember necessarily the rocket ship that got them there. I think it was like Apollo 11 or Apollo 12, something like that. But most people remember the person that is the one taking action, the one actually setting their footsteps on the moon, as opposed to what got them there. And you need to realize that the vehicle for how you get there in health is not good in day-to-day life. It's not. It's Uber Eats, it's Instacart, it's the medical healthcare system. It's very difficult to find a housekeeper chef. You can find a personal chef if you want to cough up between $2 to $4 grand a night for all your friends, or Airbnb is now offering them, which is cool. But again, I'm skeptical on the quality of ingredients and some of the things that I showed you in the fridge. I don't know how aligned that is with what Airbnb is offering, for example. And if you're working from home predominantly, you're not going to be in an Airbnb. So this is the allocation piece that is the biggest needle mover for people. People will sign on with us, they'll pay us a good amount of money, and all they'll have is ground beef, fruit bowls, rice, shrimp, and things in their fridge, so they don't need a cook. And their laundry's organized and folded and put away. See, the last piece, this is the most difficult one, interpreting. Interpreting what? Interpreting you. Interpreting what limitations are upon your body currently. Is it your mobility? Is it your strength? Is it your flexibility? Is there a blood problem? Are you faced with indigestion? Are you having low brain fog or quality memorizing things? Or are you not very clear when you communicate? Or are you feeling sluggish constantly? Do you have low testosterone? So interpreting the body, you can do this in a multifaceted of ways. The easiest ways to do it are a DEXA scan. So this will break down your body's composition. So that way you can actually have accurate action items. You break down your body's composition with the DEXA scan, you get your true BMR, and you can interpret that into the meal plan that you can get your chef to automate for you. Now you're starting to hopefully get how these points are tying into each other. Your blood work, so a full blood panel to see what's going on internally with your bloods, your hormones, your immunity markers, if your body is fighting a certain type of disease, if you have high inflammation, CRP, and ideally, you can use these findings and your good friend ChatGPT to create action items about your meal plan or your training that you can give to your chef and your physio to work with. A mobility assessment, sit to stand test, touch your toes, hamstring flexibility test, shoulder rotation, cervical rotation, standing reach, kneeling down, all these things, you can get those to your physio. So that way you can work towards more and more difficult challenges and feats without facing any repercussions. You can do a fitness test. Another thing that you can do, you can also better interpret your data using a Garmin. I took mine off because it kept buzzing with notifications that I was filming this, but my Garmin is going to tell me my training readiness, my sleep score, my resting heart rate. It's going to say all of these things, and it's going to interpret how well I'm recovering and if I'm going to train. There's my resting heart rate. I hit 49 last night, coming off of a marathon last week. How many steps I did, yada, yada, yada. This connects and makes my life a lot easier because I am a performance person. I'm not a lifestyle person. I'm performance when it comes down to my health. So non-negotiable. So we can put Garmin in there. And the goal with this stuff, all of the interpretation stuff, is to not do any guesswork. It's to do one thing. It's to do science. And people get this incorrectly. Science does not mean listening to what someone else that is more knowledgeable has to say about a subject you're trying to achieve. Science means breaking down and fully understanding as best as you can with the budget that you have to allocate exactly where you're at currently with your health. That's science. It's personalized science. That is interpreting. Without doing this, you're not going to take the right action items. Why? Because if you don't understand that you have a blood clot or you have really bad mobility in your right hip, you're going to try and do this and then you will fail. And you're going to fail in a way that inhibits your longevity. If you don't stretch out your hip properly or if your hip's knotted up and you're trying to train towards a half marathon or a marathon, ignoring that in your later years of life, sure, even in your 20s, is going to have vast impacts. That's why some of your shoulder problems don't go away, or your lower back problems, etc., because you haven't done personalized science properly to identify the root cause of what's holding you back from your action items. And sure, you could have allocated them to somebody else to tell you, hey, fix your hip problem. And then you ask how, and then you just forget to do them because you haven't systemized an approach to getting this shit done. You don't understand the core impacts of what's going on and the beauty of your body and how complicated it is and how difficult and tedious it is to actually apply all this stuff properly. It's very complicated. That's why I'm trying to break it down into 3 simple steps to invoke mass paradigm shifts in the way that you're thinking about your health, in the way that you're thinking about meal prepping or training as a much broader and a much bigger approach in terms of the challenge that's at stake for you to tackle. Okay, there's a lot of stuff. So that's the key aspect and the key fundamental root problems of trying to solve health yourself. You can't. You just can't. There's too many things going on. Now, we've talked over 3 things. We've talked over action, allocation, and interpretation. Now I'm going to share what we do for the clients that we manage. Again, over $100 million in net life, I call it, because it's how much our clients are worth and what we do for them. Okay? So you can understand and potentially pull things away from a system that works, that's proven, and that people are getting insane results with. And if you are interested in learning more about what we do, etc., you can check us out on our socials, optimobility.com, everywhere, LinkedIn, Instagram. You can go to my personal brand, etc. But the first thing that we do is we don't take action. That's a very stupid thing to do first, because what are we taking action on? What and where? What does the client want? What's going on in their body, and where are they at? 2 fundamental key questions that need to be answered before taking action, because otherwise we're setting them up incorrectly. So what we're doing first, and there's 2 types of offers. So I'll explain the first one, is allocating. Installing a housekeeper chef that comes in your home, cooks, cleans, folds your laundry for you, does all the shopping, does all the grocery ordering, cleans up the entire home, all those things within 72 hours anywhere in the US or Canada. It might take a little longer if it's in a small city, but we've got it down to around 72 hours. We'll deploy a trained housekeeper chef that removes the burdens of cooking and cleaning for you and saves you around 45 to 60 hours, creating beautiful meals where you're not wasting your time. Most powerful piece is this, because speed, you're getting quality, and you're getting something that you can't buy. So the allocation piece is our foot in the door, the housekeeper chef. We've had people that do not choose to go with the housekeeper chef, that just want to do the training plans, which I'll explain now for you, that fail because of the paradigm that I explained with time. Their time is worth so much, and it's not worth it enough for them to hop on a call with us because they know deep down, and they start demonizing their health because they're talking to another coach. And coaches do not solve problems. An iPhone solves millions of problems at once. That's our competitor. That's where health is going. It should be that easy to implement and to have that sort of ease of use. Again, like I said, health does not solve that problem like that currently. The next piece that we do is interpret, which means we do science. So we'll do blood work, DEXA scan, gut insider test, DNA if requested. The reason why it's requested because the science is still a little iffy on DNA. And then we'll do heavy metals if required. What else is there? There's food sensitivity test, fitness test, mobility assessment, Garmin, and then Training Peaks constant tracking. That spelling's great, Training Peaks. So those are the tests that we do, and this is how we interpret it with Training Peaks, and then a meal plan. Boom. So the action items are the training plan and the meal plan that are built off of the tests that we do. That's when we take action in terms of the specifics of the individual's health. If they want a housekeeper chef to come in quickly, we'll take action right away with that, obviously. But what I'm emphasizing here is a multi-tiered approach for getting healthier, not necessarily having your cooking and cleaning figured out for you quickly. So having all of these tests, you get a personalized way where you can interpret exactly where you're at. And that way you can align your action items with Training Peaks and a meal plan to hit your goals as effectively as possible while you're doing as little work as possible because you're allocating things. So the testing's cool. We have the action items associated with the testing, the meal plan and the training plan. And then we'll have the housekeeper chef on the team in Slack, coordinating everything, talking to the client, aligning with their schedule, etc. So that way they don't need to think about it. So that's the allocation piece. And then the interpretation piece just continues to happen in cycles every 3 to 6 months. Now, what is the result of this? Well, the current approach has a couple of things that are emphasized poorly. We're betting how good our batteries are. You know how on your phone you can check right now battery health and it'll show you like, oh, you're actually at 79%, but you started at 100. Well, riddle me this. Humanity is betting on what their battery percentages are constantly. On a day-to-day basis, we're living in ignorance because we don't have live interpretation data. We don't know when a blood clot occurs. We don't know when a parasite enters the stomach. The only way when we know that is when we interpret and we test the body. But eventually this will be in live time. It'll, you know, our watches or whatever we're wearing or a computer that lives within us will tell us, hey guys, you just picked up a new parasite in your stomach. Your likelihood of life is reduced by 1.7%. Because if your body doesn't beat that thing, it killed a certain aspect of your stomach lining, whatever. This system and this approach is the smartest way to not only keep your battery high, but to heal it, because the body can heal. Your maximum energy output increases if you fix your problems, right? So if you have knee problems that you need to take action on, if you don't fix them, there's a very good chance in your 60s and 70s you won't be able to walk or touch your toes or jump or do all these functional things, which obviously degrade the quality of living, but also the duration that you exist for, which you don't want. The other thing that we solve for is time. Like I emphasized before, if you do all of this yourself, you have to build a humongous knowledge base and you have to do a lot of direct experience to understand how all these incremental pieces and contractors and people work together, which takes up a big amount of your time. On a day-to-day basis, I've calculated it, if you're starting from ground zero, it's around 4 to 5 hours a day to do all of these things. Now that involves not only the allocation piece of cooking, cleaning, shopping, etc., but understanding where to take action properly, understanding how to interpret data, and ultimately you're trying to replicate people like a doctor, a physio, a trainer, that are in their own individual bubbles, that have spent their whole lives learning and applying information. You don't have time to do that. Just some basic rough math, 4 to 5 hours a week is spent figuring out the most important thing in your life. Because without health, there is nothing. There is nothing for you and the way that you're interpreting what's going on right now. You wouldn't be able to hear this video. You wouldn't be able to understand this video. You wouldn't be able to be cognizant or make relations. You just wouldn't exist. So why not have this all handled if you're looking to increase the quality of your existence? You can't just do that with money. You can get away with doing it with just money for a little bit, but the more negligent and ignorant you are on what's going on in your body, where your time is going to be healthy, and how you're getting healthier on a day-to-day basis and increasing the potential of your battery, you can spend as much money as you want. You're not going to fix those problems. And eventually, the later years of your life and the end destination stages, you're going to see a crash and a burnout, where your quality of life significantly drops when you can maintain your existence and you can maintain the quality of your living by being cognizant and being able to allocate a good amount of understanding towards the types of decisions that keep you moving on a day-to-day basis. So if you are interested, hit me up. Instagram. You also have the website, optimalmobility.com. You can see some of the cool meals and the process and some of my other thoughts on this on my LinkedIn too. And yeah,